hello.
I can't deny that song. It's catchy. I can't deny it.
I
can't deny. Hey, you can't deny its catchiness.
You can't.
It's made, but to be played on the radio.
Yeah.
so.
Well, I mean, if you get a song stuck in your head, you're gonna want to watch the movie more.
How bad?
And if you watch the movie more,
can I
you make
be?
more money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We'll get to how bad can I be. I have a whole thing about it.
So yeah, for those who don't know, this is our first episode of not liking a movie ever on this podcast, and it's also going to be kind of like not liking a company. So for those who don't know, it's the Lorax, made by Illumination Studios in 2012. I watched it for the first time this past week. Andy has seen it many times. If you should go check out Andy's really, really good YouTube video, which we're going to cover a lot of the same ideas in this. It's Anne's YouTube, ANDZ.
It's true. Wow, shameless plug.
Yeah.
I watched this movie and the reason I made that video is I watched the movie the night before because I have a weird relationship with this movie because when it was in theaters, my friend had a birthday party. In the movie theater, let us go up and look at all the projections and did a huge behind the scenes thing. So like I loved the movie when it came out in 2011?
12.
2012, yeah.
So you were like what, 9?
Yeah, I was so hype because I got all these things, and I remember a few summers ago I was really into like film critiquing and analyzing stuff, and I'm like, hey, I really don't like Illumination, but the Lorax wasn't that bad, was it? And then I watched it, and I wrote the script that night and recorded the next day.
Yeah.
And I cannot stand this movie. I want to be very like. I want to do constructive criticism and not be negative. Just to be negative.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna try to behave myself.
And so that's something I wanted to preface. So we're talking about the Lorax, made by Illumination Studios. So to cover all my bases here, I actually think that Illumination has done some good work. I genuinely think that they have a lot of talented creators there. No one can ever deny that their animation quality can be really good at plenty of times.
Sure.
And it's just like and in the way that's good, the sense that I can tell that there are some artists in there that are trying to make their way into the industry and stuff. And I also can see that like from time to time there is heartfelt like care put into animation, and I can see that from like some of its early interceptions, like Despicable Me 1. There is a care for storytelling, and then it's kind of developed into this universal idea. Like I'm talking about literally.
Ironic.
I'm literally talking about Universal as well, where they care more about making a buck with children. Children audiences and making it this bad name for film and animation films in general. So again, Illumination isn't this end-all be-all awful like company, but I think they have gone down a really poor route that has delved them into feeling like they're money makers.
Yes.
Cool, but yeah, and so.
Okay, I'm back. I had to check something. We're good.
We're good. And so that's where I feel like Illumination lacks. And I think this is one of the biggest indications of this film is based on something. It's not an original IP.
No.
And it suffers a lot from trying to make money rather than trying to tell a convincing and amazing story.
Yes, it's really sad because the Lorax is not original, like you said. It is a Dr. Seuss book, and then there was a Dr. Seuss 20-minute animation based off of it. And I think those two versions are great. I think they're incredible.
Yeah.
I think if you're wanting to flesh out the Lorax story for whatever reason, the 20-minute short is the way to go because there's genuine flaws in the Lorax thinking of like, and it's brought up in the short where the Onceler's like, oh, what should I do? Should I fire all these workers? Is that good economics? Is that good for this country?
Yeah.
And then the Lorax is like, I see your point. I don't have an answer for you. I'm just telling you what you're doing is hurting people, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like the Lorax in the short has a voice of reason, you know? Has a voice of, what you're doing is hurting me and hurting the people around you.
Yes.
I get you are too far into change, but something needs to, you know? That's
Absolutely.
the meaning of unless. Unless is a very, very, very powerful message at the end.
And something that Andy talks in his video is, so again, the whole point of the Lorax is this idea of like consumerism and its negative aspects that can happen. Because again, everyone wants to make their buck and way in the world, and some people's way into the world is unfortunately consumerism.
Sure.
Some people look at any of the billionaires nowadays. Their reason that they're so so big and amazing is because of capitalism and consumerism. And the Lorax has a big commentary in that idea of like, well, at what cost is this going to hurt nature and hurt others? And the person that is at fault is the Onceler. And the thing is he eventually comes to terms with his faults, and he gets that seed, and it's like he gives a seed to the kid, and it's left up to this idea that whether or not that kid will like take the gracious path of like replanting that. It's up to the audience. And it's like, and then that was one thing that's a fault of the Lorax film, is it becomes this whole crazy trying to be funny film sequence of them trying to plant the seed in this crazy world that doesn't make sense. And that's what we'll get into all that. Don't get me wrong, but that's one thing. Is that one thing I want to start off with us talking about is how much the film of the 2012 film of the Lorax differs from the book.
Yeah, I think that, and this is just a little game theory I have. I think
it's just a theory.
A game theory. I think that Illumination went in to storyboard the Lorax with the best of intentions.
Yeah,
I really do.
I agree with that.
There was an entire cut soundtrack of the Lorax that has incredible songs. There's a song called Biggering, and I think about this song pretty much every single day of my life. Biggering was replaced by How Bad Can I Be? How Bad Can I Be is terrible and awful, not from a music perspective, but from a thematic perspective with lyrics, and we'll get into that. But Biggering,
it's a fine song if you just look at it as a rock song.
Yeah, it's very catchy. It's supposed to get stuck in your head, so you buy more tickets and you watch the movie again, and Illumination makes more money. Anyway, but Biggering has lyrics like, who cares? Their lyrics got changed from "Who cares if things are dying" to "Who cares if trees are dying?" Like everything's dying as a result of what the Onceler is doing. And the song starts Biggering. It starts as like, I need a bigger desk. I need a bigger this. I need this. I need more and more and more. That's the Onceler's character. That's what it's supposed to be. Whereas How Bad Can I Be is like if you really like time it out, he is destructing the planet for maybe 20-something seconds of the entire song, Yeah. Like the rest of it, he's just flexing like it almost seems like borderline Logan Paul parody of like flexing Jake Paul's Rice Gum hype beast sort of like flexing like, look, I got this and this and this, instead of I want, it's I have, which is weird. It's really weird.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree, and that's something that so this is again. So Andy and I were talking last week about like a film that we both dislike immensely, and I try not to go into movies I dislike. I try not to like think, oh, I'm gonna dislike this movie, and so I literally went to the Lorax being like, how bad can it be? And I watched it and I was like, there's so many, and I've seen Andy's video before, and I kind of tried like blocking that out of my mind. Don't get me wrong.
You and everyone else.
Yeah, it's, and I understand that a lot of people have a lot of sentiment values to this film for whatever the Lorax did to them as a child. I don't know. Sounds wrong, I guess you can put it that way, but I don't know. And the Onceler and stuff, but there is a lot at fault here that I think is so funny, in due part to the counter message of the film. The film is all, again, like I said, it's about anti-consumerism, it's anti-capitalism, it's anti taking the world for advantage. It's much more about caring and thinking about your actions while also pursuing your dreams. And Andy's very right, where the entire film kind of feels like from the start is Ted's character trying to for words that I can't like say on the radio, have intimate relations with redhead Taylor Swift.
Yeah, it's
and it's like that's the whole point of his reasoning.
That's the driving action.
That's
which
the
is
driving
insane.
action, and it's like
crazy.
And it's like, why is that the point of the film? The point of the film should be about what is going on here. Mm-hmm. And again, at the end of the day, the big old villain of the film is that short dude. Can't even remember his name.
Yeah, we'll get into the villains. I have such a problem with the villains.
And I was like, okay, he's so mustache twirling. He's just so bad. Mm-hmm. He is so unironically just like bad for being bad for money.
Why is there fascism in Thneedville?
Yeah, and it's like, and the world doesn't make sense, and it's just like it's a film that I like. Andy puts it very well, where it's like a film like, oh, kids are stupid, they're gonna like this, and they're gonna give us money, and I guess maybe they're right to some extent, but I dislike that idea because it just feels so taking advantage of what the medium can bring and what the medium can teach kids, while also being that message that like, hey, this is entertaining for young kids that really can't grasp a full narrative plot line. Like, this doesn't just need to be like shiny thing, song. Oh, look at this. Like, with a meaningful message that is not really there. It can be like the How to Train Your Dragons, or it can be like the Your Names. It can be like the Studio Ghibli. It can be like any of those films, or the Spider-Mans of the world. It just, a lot of times, this like Illumination in general feels like they're treating their audience as stupid, and not just the kids, but everyone.
Yeah, it's I kind of take this movie and Illumination as a whole as kind of like the SS Sniper Wolf or the reaction videos of like it's just like there's no substance to anything. You're just sort of dangling keys in front of a toddler hoping he'll shut up and stop crying for an hour.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think that's fine. I think it'll make kids stop crying and stop being loud, but at the end of the day, if you're raising a kid, I would definitely. I have a dog, so it's practically the same thing.
Exactly.
But I would go for like How to Train Your Dragon, or like a movie where I've told this story 100 times on the show, but I watched Kung Fu Panda with my older brother, and for whatever reason, I felt so inspired by that movie, by that scene of like when Poe's like, every time you throw a brick at me or call me names, I feel bad, but not worse than I felt every other day of my life. And just seeing that low of Poe and then him becoming the actual dragon warrior at the end, I felt inspired by watching that as a 5-year-old? I was 5, 6, 7. The thought of it's just a kids movie, kids are stupid, makes me so like unbelievably angry, because that is so far from the truth. Kids are so much smarter than anyone will ever give them credit for.
Absolutely.
And they can pick up on themes. They can pick up on emotions. Not once in Kung Fu Panda do they lay out, here's how Poe is feeling now, and here's how he's feeling at the end. Like, it is a very gradual, subtextual, like, facial expressions and comments, and, like it's not, like, laid out in front of you like an Illumination movie. Like, there's actual substance to everything that's being said, and I think...
And it's crazy, because... I mean, I always look at the movies I watched as a kid. Like, I look at the what's it called? The Lion Kings, the Mulans.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm watching. I am a certified Lion King disliker, but I'm still. I know it's I don't hate it. It's not my favorite movie. I think that Hamlet and Shakespeare is better. But besides, that's the theater kid nerd of me.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But what I'm saying is that about it is that at the end of the day, even if I'm not the biggest fan of the movie, I'm still watching it, and I'm like, this is teaching me a lesson, and it irks me, because it happens at the Oscars again this year. Jimmy Kimmel or whoever's up there goes like, and now the animation category, whoever, or I guess the give your vote to the kids award, and it's like, no, it's so ingenuous and disingenuous of what animation can bring and what its journey can be.
Especially when Boy and the Heron was up.
Exactly.
You know, like, you can't, it's like, what are you talking about?
And it's something that's so outrageously, and I think in a lot of ways, been taken advantage of simply because of industries like Illumination, and then sometimes Disney in the modern era.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
Disney.
you can look at some of the Disney Pixars, like Incredibles 2, which feels very much like shiny keys.
Hey, look, you love superheroes now, don't
like,
you?
Yeah, or versus like something like Inside Out, which I'm excited for Inside Out too, because that's something that explored complex emotions with inside people. I know you don't.
I don't like Inside Out.
I know you don't like Inside Out, but still. It's that idea that look at Lightyear. It's a film that just felt like space movie. Oh, we have space movie. Like, it's like, come on. It's like, at the end of the day, it's like, we gotta really like talk about like that kids are much more intelligent and caring and thoughtful and in depth and motivated than anyone's getting them credit for, just because a movie like Boss Baby or like Despicable Me 28 or Sing 2 or any of these Migration, all these Illumination films that just feel so disingenuous and so just like, I am trying to make a quick buck because kids are stupid. And it feels horrible, and it's like these parents are taking these kids to Wish because they think it's like, oh my god, my kids are gonna love it so much, and like I'm gonna be able to like put on the music for them, and then I'll shut them up for an hour. Why don't I have to parent them? No, like, that's awful. I think that we really should be caring a significant much more about what kids are watching. And then we're going to get much into Lorax, where there's so many shortcuts and corners cut
Mm-hmm.
because they think that kids are stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. This could just be me. But some of my fondest memories of good kids movies is when on the drive home after the movie, my mom and I would talk for the entire drive home about what we just saw. You know,
Yeah.
that's how you know it's a good kids movie. If you're a parent and you're having an in-depth conversation with a 5-year-old about the complex themes that were present in Toy Story 3's abandonment, like,
Yeah.
like I would talk to my mom about movies all the time as a kid. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like that idea that like my mom, my dad, and I all love The Incredibles so much. That's what we dressed up as and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like because to the end of the day, it's like a very complex film about family and what family is and what it means. And it's like I think there's still great animated movies coming out nowadays. Like me and Annie have talked about Spider-Verse. We talked about A Boy in the Hair, and we've had these
they're
conversations
great.
about those movies before. And it's because those movies are a testament to like hey, like this just because something's animated doesn't mean it's not cinema. Doesn't mean it's not beauty. Doesn't mean it's not gorgeous. Like what it does for the industry. And that's where I struggle with the Lorax. And so you come into the Lorax and you have this motivated kid who is like, I'm gonna do something with sexual relations with Taylor Swift, and that is what I want to do. That is simply what I want to do, and I'm gonna get this tree to do it, and that's my goal, and I'm gonna do that only. And I'm actually now living in this place, and then so he comes to the Onceler, and this Onceler is a character which Tumblr in 2013, 2014 was going crazy over. Let me tell you, who is voiced very haphazardly by Ed Helms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One of the worst of like voice acting performances
yeah.
I've ever seen. I genuinely think so. I think that it's like you can see it's phoned in. The voice doesn't match the character. The casting wasn't done well. And that's probably my personal belief. I think that
I don't
Ed
think
Helms,
there's a single good casting choice
maybe
in
Danny
this.
DeVito, maybe.
I mean, I don't know.
At
I don't
the
like
end of
Danny DeVito at all.
That's
like,
a hot take.
Not like as a person. I think as a person he's fine.
Fair,
in
fair.
the context of the Lorax, I can't stand Danny DeVito's Lorax.
Fair, that's valid. That's where I am agreement. And you get Zac Efron playing a kid when he was at the age of like 20 something. It doesn't even really sound like a kid. And you get Taylor Swift, who is very obviously someone who doesn't really care about voice acting, and it feels like everyone was in there for a paycheck, and it just feels forced. It feels like these people didn't care, and it kind of culminates into like feeling like everyone didn't care. There feels like there's almost every corner cut. There the like you can make the Needville so much more interesting. You can make the forest so much more interesting, and it just feels like it's bland backgrounds with a couple things in the foreground that seem super cool.
Yeah, I think one of my big problems with this is I genuinely, and this isn't hyperbole, this isn't a joke, I genuinely question if any of the voice actors, any of the script writers, any of the directors, any of the producers read the source material. Genuinely, the Lorax is not that deep, you guys. It is so bare bones.
Yeah.
Like, the theme of the Lorax is so simple.
Yes.
Hey, big corporations, you're ruining the planet. However, it's everyone. It's everyone's fault. We are all ruining the planet, and we need to be the change. That's what unless means. Unless means that you, the person reading this, need to take one step forward every single day to be better.
Yeah.
You know? That is not anywhere near the Lorax 2012. There is no,
Absolutely not. You get so much ironicism in the sense of like how they marketed it too. Where I looked into the marketing after I watched Andy's video.
70 corporate tie-ins.
You get Mercedes. I'm like, what the heck?
This is probably one of my favorite bits about the Lorax is there's a commercial when this ad came out in 2012 for a Mercedes car. And it says it's Truffle Tree approved. A gas car. Let's keep it a buck. That's not true, right? If you drive a gas car, cool, whatever. But, you're doing that with the knowledge of, carbon footprint, right?
Yeah, it is. There's
In
no
the-
way if and about it.
In the song How Bad Can I Be, the Onceler throws a Thneed. The Thneed is, the corporatized thing that you think it's a whole thing. And takes a picture with the Lorax holding it and holds up and makes a billboard that says Lorax approved. And it is criticizing the fact that people are putting marketing things as blank approved just to sell it.
Yes.
But then Illumination goes and does the exact same thing with their movie, and I don't genuinely I don't know how anyone let this happen? Like, it is the most hypocritical, like...
It's something crazy to me. Like, I don't understand how. I don't know. I actually
getting
don't know
worked
if
up.
I don't know if the Seuss family actually cut ties with them, because I know they made Horton Hears a Who, and I know because I know, for instance, like there's never gonna be allowed to make another live action Seuss film.
Yes.
Because the Seuss family denies it. They don't want it again. They don't want what happened to Cat in the Hat to happen again, which is to their own. That's their own right to do.
Fair.
I don't think I've seen a Seuss film. Oh, I guess The Grinch 2019 came out with Benedict Cumberbatch with Illumination.
Yeah.
I don't know, but beside the point, I know that like it just feels like such a spit in the face of the Seuss family, and especially Dr. Seuss in general. Say what you want about the man, he has his troubles, but like at the end of the day, he's a good children's book writer, and he creates a story that just feels like it's completely twisted and taken advantage of. And if you want to explore the lore, you get into Thneedville, and you have what's the guy's name, the villain? I can't even remember his name.
Well, that's the thing. Illumination. Who's your villain?
Yeah.
It seems like you don't know. The villain should be the Onceler, right?
Yeah,
that should be your villain. However, all of his actions are pawned off by his family. He has 5 family members who pressure him into cutting down trees. And it's like, okay, so if you don't want the Onceler to be your antagonist, why are you having 5 people justify his actions? So now these 5 characters are the antagonists, not the Onceler. And then throughout all of the movie, there's a fascist dictator of President O'Hare. Who's just like a Hitler stand-in. And it's like, why would you... Like, Illuminations doesn't know who their villain is. There's no central villain. And in that, everything gets so muddy. And instead of the lesson of the movie being like, hey, guys, there needs to be change, the lesson of the movie is, hey, let's stop the villain. It turns into a stop the villain narrative instead of a call to action, which is insane. It's crazy.
It's the entire time you're watching this, like, this mustache twirling villain be villainous for being villainous. It doesn't have a reason to be there, and at the time, because you're exploring the entire idea of the Onceler, this O'Hare guy is taking the backseat. Then all of a sudden, as soon as he gets the seed, Ted gets the seed, O'Hare now immediately becomes the main villain, and I need to save the planet with the tree, which also the world building doesn't make sense at all. All. So like, okay, if you're selling air, because you have no trees, where the hell is the air coming from? Also, like, why is it such a utopia? Why would anyone? I know Andy said this before, but like, why would anyone want to change Thneedville? You have a beach, you have a snowboarding, you have like cars, you have apparently. You have access to air, and it doesn't seem like there's any impoverished people at all. No. It doesn't seem like anyone's not living comfortably. Everyone has a house. Everyone has a job. No one's going to school. Everyone's getting food, like water. Who cares? Like if their food and water isn't good, but because they're still eating it and they're having fun with it. They're literally bouncing the Jello because they're having a good time with it. It doesn't make any sense. The skies are blue. It's like what the heck, man? If I lived in this utopia without trees, who cares?
Yeah.
There seems to be no consequence if there's no trees.
You cannot have your movie attempt to be a call to action, because there is an attempt, a bad one, but there is a crumb of an attempt for this movie to be a call to action. You cannot have your movie be a call to action if you depict the world as being perfect, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's concept art of them wearing respirators and Thneedville having, like, smoggy air, and, like, why wouldn't you do that? Right? If you want the movie to be like, hey guys, we messed up. Too much greenhouse gas. Sorry about that. Our bad. Let's make trees like really hip and cool again. Like, that's great. You cannot depict the world to be okay, you know? And the biggest problem with this is in the original book, in the original short, the characters' names are the Lorax and the Onceler. This isn't literal. This is all symbolic, right? The Onceler and the Lorax are very symbolic for the Onceler is corporatization and industrialization, and the Lorax is like people, like, these aren't real people, you know?
No.
But when you try to flesh out the world, you allow me to come in and criticize it, right?
Yeah.
That's my job. If you're going to flesh out the world, I get to point out you're eating Jello. Hey guys, where do you think Jello comes from?
Exactly.
Cows, okay? Cows eat grains and plants. Those don't exist. Cows don't exist. How do you get water? How do you, they show that they buy air, and they put airs in like an air purifier in their house, but then
But they never
they
seem to be
drink the
struggling
air
yeah.
out of like a carbonized bottle.
And it doesn't make sense. And it's this idea that I've had people tell me this when I've reviewed movies like by Illumination. Funny enough, like the Super Mario movie, I'm like, this movie I was so upset with it because it felt like when I described it, it felt like a kids movie that was corporate cash grabbing, and people were commenting on it, being like, "Well, maybe Luke, it's a movie meant for kids." And I'm like, okay, I'm a super big fan of Mario, and I think that this film really lacked on its storytelling aspects, and I think that it made it just a cash grab thing with like popular music that really didn't fit the narrative at all, and really felt like Mario's being taken advantage of as a character, and it just felt useless and stupid with one good song. And I'm like, I'm not allowed to criticize a kids movie for being stupid and dumb in its world building and its animation style and its music choice, or because it's a kids movie. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that I can't criticize. Like, oh, as soon as a movie becomes PG-13, I'm allowed to criticize it for its world building. Like, what?
Do you know what else is a kids movie? The Prince of Egypt.
Yeah.
Do you know what else is a kid movie? Ponyo. Like
I
if you take a step back to that like mind-numbingly stupid argument, like just because it's a movie where the target demographic is kids does not mean that it is a kids movie. There is no such thing as a quote-unquote kids movie. Any movie can be enjoyed by anyone if it's well written.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, no, I'm not going to be showing my kids Saw, obviously, but I'm allowed to criticize Saw all of a sudden because it's R-rated. I'm allowed to criticize it.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to, what? I don't understand. I'm allowed to criticize movies that are R and PG-13 because they're meant for adults, and I can criticize that world building. Why? I want it. It's stupid. It's stupid. I sound like Seinfeld right now. It is though, because genuinely, what is going on in this entire film to have. Also, what is the rest of the world? Is it all just nature? Do people only exist in Thneedville? It doesn't make sense. How are they getting food? How are they?
There's so many problems.
It's a utopia with no justification. It is a utopia with no consequence. If it was smoggy, they were wearing respirators and they were eating bricks of I don't know, cardboard bricks for food, I would have no problem with its world building.
The most offensive part of all of this is that the most offensive part of all of this is that it would make my mind can wrap it, I wouldn't agree, but I can wrap my head around the idea of oh, they just don't want to show something that's scary to kids. Sure, I disagree, but I get it. However, they also wrote an entire song called Thneedville where every single lyric is hey guys, we have everything. We have a four-story parking lot. We have smoothies. We can surf and then we can snowboard all in the same day. And it's how are you so unaware of
how can you show utopia and then be this is the bad thing?
Yeah.
I would understand it if it's a 1984 thing where the utopia is forced upon them. It's where the utopia is presumed because they don't know anything else.
Yeah, like The Giver. There's a movie called The Giver, and in The Giver, they live in a utopia, but it's an eerie utopia of hey, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
The conflict is from the ignorance of the people. The people, it's not that they don't know any better, it's just that there is a higher power keeping them in the dark.
Yes.
So then the conflict turns into, hey, they need to know the truth. Instead of, Thneedville's all right, guys, we have a kid that is an actual glow stick. And then the fact that kid is not treated and people do not panic leads me to believe that there is no sickness, there is no cancer, there is no anything in this. Everything is fine.
It's clearly shown too that this is so criticism, maybe even nitpicky, but the grandma is shown to be healthy, active, and fit.
Dude, she teleports. She's either super fast,
And okay, that means that to some extent they have an average life expectancy pretty long for a grandma to exist. Also, where's his dad? Who's his dad? Why does it matter? I don't know, but what? It's it doesn't make sense to me. And then where it's just frustrating because so much of it is left to just being kids don't care.
Yeah.
And these are just two 20-year-old dudes just complaining about it on a podcast. But dude, come on. It's
it matters.
It matters. This movie made a lot of money. And it's taking advantage of children. And it's more than just the movie itself. It represents the corporation of Illumination and Universal. And it represents that idea of how we should treat our kids in the media. Because now kids are treated with media of TikTok, just Come on. Just stay interested without being developed. Like, if you watch any kid show nowadays, a Cocomelon, any of these things, like, they are so, like Peppa Pig, it's all just dangling keys in front of your kids, and it's horrible. It's literally brain rot. And it's like, but like, I don't want to be like when I grew up. Like, I don't want to be like that kind of person. Like, everything was better when I was a kid. But like, genuinely, like I think for a large part of the argument, like when I was a kid, everything was better. Like, I think that's a very like boomer mindset where everything is better when you're a kid. But I'm finally starting to realize that in a now div age, things are starting to become actually better much older. Like when I was a kid, I had Scooby-Doo, I had SpongeBob, I had these movies, these TV shows that. And to a lesser extent, SpongeBob, but I had TV shows that were trying to entertain and keep us entertained with complex narratives and ideas, and movies that were trying to keep us entertained with complex narratives and ideas. And now, thanks to companies like Illumination and Disney and Nickelodeon, with negative ideas of how animation is treated, you get these like Secret Life of Pets, you get Sing 2, you get these movies that try to develop these characters without fleshing out its world, without fleshing out ideas, without thinking of its thematic premises, and just for the excuse it's a kid movie and it'll make money. It's dumb and it's stupid and it's frustrating because they think that they can just make a ton of money by hiring Chris Pratt and getting a bunch of kids that come watch a movie about a cartoon cat that has no consequences in his life. Like,
I am so like, yeah, here's the thing. Tough pill to swallow. Disney is no better than Illumination, right?
Right
that
now,
is,
yeah,
like,
right now, yeah.
Like, okay, the whole reason I'm in film school is because I want to make TV shows for children. I want to have a children's TV show. That is my entire goal in life, is to do that, right? I would do anything to be in the position Illumination is in. Illumination is in the position where they can release anything to theaters and it will be seen by millions and millions of children, right?
Yes.
The Lorax is at its core an incredible message of, if you can get children super, super young to care about the environment, to care about their carbon footprint, to care about what they do and the decisions they make, you are doing an incredible job. And that's why I think it is incredibly irresponsible and really, really, really messed up that Illumination took such an idea. And it almost seems like, I don't want to say brainwashy, but kind of like they draw people in with like we're going to teach your kids about the environment, and then giving them this, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it seems really, really, really scummy to me, you know?
Yeah,
I would
absolutely.
do anything to be able to give a message to millions of kids about the environment, you know? That's something I care a lot about, animals and wildlife in the ocean, you know? That's like a huge thing for me, you know? And if I could give a message that will reach millions of people, I feel like it is your responsibility. Like, if you're going to do that, you have a responsibility to do it right, to do it in a way that isn't corporatized, doesn't contradict itself, to give a good message to children. Any children's media out there has a responsibility to teach good. And Illumination's 2012 The Lorax does not do that. It does, frankly, quite the opposite. And that's what makes me so upset.
Absolutely. And that's something that I've been noticing about modern day animation films made by these big corporations that are trying to make a buck. So if you look at Frozen 1, it's a movie that like is very much like talked about because it's one of the most popular anime movies of all time. And for honestly a right reason. It teaches you about sisterly love. It teaches you about love for your family and caring for others and looking beyond yourself and finding what is deep for yourself and meaningful. If you look at Frozen 2, what's the message? It's not there.
No.
It's not there because they realized
oh my God,
it was
Idina Menzel can sing. Cool.
Exactly. And if you look at Moana,
Moana's great.
Moana's a good movie. It's a very much, hey, nature needs to be protected. Nature needs to be observed and loved. And like, again, it's a journey of finding yourself. Now, if you look at Wish is a movie that came out in 2023, and it's a movie about being like popular song that worked in Frozen and Moana, right? That worked. Popular song, come on, they sing it, and it's like that doesn't work at all. If you look at
Disney, let's get AI to bring back Robin Williams from the dead so people can remember the genie.
Yeah,
no.
If you look at a movie called Strange World, came out in 2022, like a movie that's seen by its premise, like, oh my God, they're taking such a unique idea, but at the end of the day, it's just being like, we can make these characters look very basic, and then we can just make the audience think that they're entertaining. It doesn't work. It doesn't work, and it's frustrating because they're just trying to find what makes them movies good, and it's like they think it's the songs, they think it's like that entertaining value. The reason that I liked Frozen wasn't because of Let It Go. The reason I personally like Frozen because Elsa's a character is someone who struggles with her self-identity and takes the whole movie to discover that her family is a supporter. And she grows and learns from it. The reason I love a movie such as How to Train Your Dragon is because at the core, again, a kids movie, a movie about kids, teaches you about learning, again, to accept yourself and accept how your family can perceive you, and going on this journey of acceptance along with another person, or rather another being and a dragon, and growing because of it, and becoming a new and better person because of your past mistakes and past transgressions, and growing every single day about it with sacrifices and loss to be mad and had and made. And like what sacrifice or loss happens in the Lorax? Nothing happens. The Onceler doesn't really lose anything. Like he still owns a house, he still has food, he's still, like, just because the trees are gone doesn't mean no one lives in utopia. It's frustrating. It's so frustrating because you see so much of like animated films being taken for advantage, and it's stupid. It's my favorite, and it's my favorite medium. I've told many people that my favorite movies of all time, sure, they're live action, but my favorite like medium of filmmaking is animation.
Yes.
It's the one that you can be the most expressive for. You can create the most amazing, wonderful things. Look at Fantastic Mr. Fox. It's a film that is so deeply about family, and it's so unique and so beautiful. And look at How to Train Your Dragon. Look at Your Name. Look at these films, and look, animation is a great source to teach everyone, not just kids, but everyone about inner things in their own lives. And it's so expressive and so imaginative, and it's being taken advantage of to create cash grab ideas that are like, Secret Life of Pets. What do pets do? They're superheroes all of a sudden. What? No, it's stupid. It's dumb. And it's, sorry, I'm going on a really big tangent here.
No, I agree.
It's just so frustrating because these corporations are taking advantage of us as an audience because they're just dangling keys in front of us. They're trying to take advantage of this idea, this modern era of social media, taking advantage of your attention span by creating attention movies that just don't work and just make you feel like they're stupid and dumb, and it's frustrating because everyone likes, like, all my friends that I know that aren't super into film like me and Andy are, love the Lorax because how bad can I be? I'm just doing what comes naturally. Like, or the Onceler is hot, wasn't he? No, that's not what you should be taking away from the Lorax. You should be like, oh, I love the Lorax because of the message it made about like how this world creating these characters are so fun and interesting, and there's something. No one remembers the main character's name. What was his motive? To have relations with Taylor Swift.
The actual driving incident in the film is Taylor Swift's character. No one knows her name. Taylor Swift's character says, "Yeah, I'd probably, if anyone could get me a tree, I'd probably kiss him."
Marry them on the spot.
Bar for bar, the line of what starts this movie, and what?
It's telling kids that, hey, if you're interested in a girl, that's the only reason you should be like doing anything.
Yeah,
you shouldn't be looking into yourself to better yourself anyway.
Don't better yourself. Better yourself for other people. Better yourself so other people will like you.
And it's frustrating. It's so frustrating. It's like it's just dumb to me because of, man, it's like movies are meant to explore ideas and create art. It's one of the, in my opinion, I've told my girlfriend this, Jordan, it's my favorite idea. It's my favorite form of art.
Yes.
Because still art is a picture. It lacks the ability to speak and be listened to. Mm-hmm. And then if you look at audio, it lacks the idea of being seen. Mm-hmm. And film combines it. Combines it, and it's the only media in the whole world where you can see art and hear art at the same time. Mm-hmm. Like, music can't be seen. I love music. I love artwork. I love like graffiti. I love all these ideas. Like we're surrounded by art in this room right now, but I can't hear any of it. I can't feel it, and I can read, but then I can't see it. I have to imagine it, and all of that is amazing artwork. I love that artwork. It's beautiful. However, film is so expressive because it can convey so many emotions about human nature, about like just the world in general, and for it to be just something used to make money and not create a story, not tell an emotional aspect, or just simply be entertaining at its core, Like, if you look at a film like, I don't know, like a comedy film that has necessarily not like this thematic premise, it can still be like, okay, this is comedy. It's just meant to be entertaining in that manner. It's like having a movie like The Lorax just be something that is trying to make money is so hurtful to the art form.
Absolutely. And especially animation is probably the purest form of imagination. And I think what makes me upset is Illumination, being a big company in and of itself, could not criticize big corporations in the film The Lorax. So they twisted the narrative to have big corporations being instigators of pollution, but oblivious to it. No, like, not at all. I think these messages are insane because, like, if you want good, again, Illumination is at a point of they're responsible for teaching children lessons that they will take with them the rest of their life. I have that lesson of Kung Fu Panda is engraved in me, right? When I was a kid, I watched an episode of Sesame Street where Mr. Hooper, played by Will Lee, died. The character died on Sesame Street, right?
Yeah.
They did a whole episode on grief for, like, their target demographic is toddlers, right?
Yeah.
As a toddler, I learned how to deal with grief, right? And that is a lesson that I still take with me every single day.
Yeah.
From Will Lee's Mr. Hooper on Sesame Street, because Sesame Street knows that it is their responsibility as a nonprofit. They know that it is their responsibility to teach kids these lessons. You know,
my favorite animated movie when I was a kid was The Jungle Book. It's a lesson about, like, friends are come of every size, like appearance and all, and it's like this way of, like,
not just friends, family,
and it's people that like anyone that can accept you for who you are. Your differences are what make you beautiful, and like, I'm like watching this as like a 4-year-old, being like, this is so cool, like I'm weird looking, I can have friends, like, and it's like, what does the Lorax teach you? What? It's supposed to teach you about like, hey, care about the world around you, and use others to support that.
I think the music video of Earth by musician Lil Dicky does a better job of teaching people about the environment in a 4-minute song than Illumination's The Lorax. And I mean that in the most, like, genuine way possible.
Yeah.
The
I
music video
agree.
that came out in, like, what, 2017, 2018?
Yeah, I can't even remember.
That video blew up on, like, this is gonna be a tangent, stick with me. That video, the music video of Earth by Lil Dicky, the entire song is about, hey guys, we're ruining the environment. The same, at its core, the same message the Lorax should be teaching.
Yeah.
Right? I was on Twitter a lot in this age, but that music video started a conversation. That music video started people talking all across Twitter, all across Instagram, reposts everywhere. Do you remember, like,
Yeah, I
this
remember
song blew up because it was a genuine attempt to change. It was a call to action. The Lorax has not made a splash at all. Like, 12 years later, no one cares because the Lorax
is that funny movie where girls can dress up with a funny mustache for Halloween and be like this is that, or they can dress up as a Onceler. It's something played off as a joke.
As hard as it is, the biggest thing that came out of the Lorax is the way it took over Tumblr, just by the way that the characters were attractive to middle schoolers, right?
Yes, yeah.
Like, and that is so sad in the most, like, kind of funny and ironic way of, like, the attempt was a call to action to create change. That's what unless means. Unless means that you, the viewer, are in charge of being the change this world needs. Because the world needs a lot of change right now, you know? And it is your responsibility as a human being to leave better than you found it, you know? And the Lorax, it's like, I don't know. If you're a parent and you want to show your kid a movie, watch Ernest and Celestine, or, like, watch How to Train Your Dragon, or like, or just weird tangent. Ernest and Celestine is a completely different message, a completely different message of found family and loving yourself and loving others. But there's a message, you know?
Yeah.
And there's care. Every single person on set cared about Ernest and Celestine. I cannot say the same about the Lorax.
Yeah, I can tell that those animators, they love their job. They feel like I can guarantee you that they're looking for other places to work. Mm-hmm. Guarantee you. Because they know their talents are being wasted on creating films that are consumerized. And, like, I guarantee so many artists that I can ask so many of my friends, like, if you can make your dream movie but not make a buck from it, would you do it? Everyone says yes.
Yeah.
Because Because art isn't just about making money. It isn't. And the Lorax is a film that is so much about making money, which is so funny because it's the reason that we're talking about so much, I guess, not hatred, but negativity in this idea is because this film goes against the very idea of what it's preaching.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying is like
people deserve better, I think.
Like, you can talk about how much we dislike Marvel, but at the end of the day, like, it's doing what it goes out to achieve. You know,
it's not like this is the equivalent, like, to a lesser extent of, like, if Marvel Age of Ultron, like, if Marvel wanted to advertise Age of Ultron, they sent a nuke to somewhere.
Yeah.
Like they blew up a city.
Yeah.
Like, to advertise, you know?
Exactly. It's like that because Marvel's like, okay, we're entertaining superhero movies, and I think that we could talk about how much there's dislike of Marvel and how much superhero movies are being taken advantage of for the same ideas. Don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, the reason this one is I hate this one so much more than like those superhero movies is because it's going against the purpose.
Yeah.
The purpose of what it's trying to do, and it's targeting an audience that is at its most vulnerable.
At least Marvel isn't spreading poison. And I mean that in the most, like, genuine way. Like, I think that the Lorax is actual poison to people watching,
Yeah.
to children who are... Because children are not stupid in the ways of trying to understand lessons. Children can understand lessons. They are way smarter than you think they are. Children just lack the ability to articulate how they're feeling and why they're feeling, right?
Yeah.
That is the only difference between
lot
a
of
child
times-
and an adult.
And a lot of times they don't have the ability to do the actions that are needed. That's sometimes the truth is that sometimes children are just not physically able to go plant a tree. That is the truth.
Sure.
Yeah. But that doesn't change that if a kid saw, let's say in a perfect world, The Lorax is a great film about a message that expresses the idea of how consumerism can target the world and cause negative distraught to everything. But you and your friends and your family can make a change if you really do care. A kid sees that message, whatever. And they go out and be like, hey, Dad, I want to be a part of the EPA. I want to be part of the Environmental Protection Agency. That's my goal in life is to change the world for the better.
Yeah, also there's like I know this is kind of like out there, but I feel like if the Lorax came out today and was a very perfect movie in the sense of its themes, hey, guess what? Every single kid in America knows about hashtag Team Seas and hashtag Team Trees by Mr. Beast. Every single kid in America knows about that. Right?
Like,
even if you're a child and don't know how, like, every single child knows Mr. Beast and knows those two charities that he helps run with Mark Rober, right?
Yeah.
If the Lorax came out today and you inspire children to help the environment, they have the easiest outlet in the world to go, right?
Yeah.
Easiest.
Yeah, and like say what you want about like, we're even outside of movies at a little bit of a tangent. Say what you want about Mr. Beast about his brain rot content. At least the man is trying to make a difference in the world.
Absolutely.
Like he is absolutely content that is ridden with brain rot, but at least he cares about like the world in general. Like
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Changing lives.
Yeah.
And the Lorax very obviously is taking that idea of Mr. Beast. If Mr. Beast was just like, I just want to make money.
Yeah.
Like,
The Illumination is the equivalent of Mr. Beast if he, like, didn't reinvest every single penny into the next video, you know?
Yeah.
At least Mr. Beast has done stuff like, oh, I cured 100 people of blindness. I built wells. I built cities. Like, the entire Beast Philanthropy channel is, like, insane. It's, like, I don't know. I just...
shout out Mr. Beast.
as if he needs it.
I know. I'm just saying it's this atrocious idea of I was thinking about this the other day. So people say, oh, this movie reached $1 billion. It's crazy to think about.
Congrats.
It's a crazy idea to think about. So I've always been thinking this idea of like what like I always hear like, oh, this movie made $300 million. This movie cost like $200 million to make. I thought about it and I was like, okay, like how much money is that? And it's like, well, the most rich people in the world only really have like around 84 upwards $1 billion only. Don't get me wrong, but like I'm saying. So a movie to make $1 billion means that people saw it and people cared, and it changed lives for the better, possibly. And look at a movie that made a bunch of money that did negative impacts to the world. It's Fast and Furious franchise, or like look at like even like a lot of Illumination, like Secret Life of Pets.
Passion of the Christ.
Like it's this idea that like, oh my God, these people are just going to see this movie, and it had a 0 to negative impact on the world in general. And The Lorax is a great example of this. Another movie that made. Let's see. I'm gonna look up how much money this movie made. How much? I gotta look it up. Oh my God, so many Wi-Fi. So how much did Lorax make?
it had a budget of $70 million and it had a grossing of $351 million.
So
that's disgusting.
that means it made literally 5 times what it was invested in, meaning that
Quick math, go you.
Yeah, that means that many people saw this film just on its release in theaters, not even counting its digital or long lifespan otherwise, and it's done nothing. Like that money has gone into corporate greed, and it's sad. It's so depressing because that money can be used for so many good things, and it's like that reason that I think that filmmakers like Anderson, or filmmakers like I'm trying to think of smaller filmmakers, oh my God, Yorgos Lanthimos, or people like this that are making films that really don't gross that amount of money. They don't really get that much money made, but they're making art and they're making things that they think that will change the world, and people will still support it and go to see it.
Yeah.
Even if they're not making that much money.
There's lessons to take about grief from Asteroid City. There's lessons of identity with Fantastic Mr. Fox. There are lessons to be learned that even as a child watching those movies for the first time.
Yeah.
Not Asteroid City.
Not Asteroid City. This year,
Fantastic Mr. Fox. Watching that for the first time as a kid, I felt something. I can tell you every single movie that I watched in theaters as a kid that I felt something. You know, I remember feeling something after Toy Story 3. I remember feeling something after A, B, and C, How to Train Your Dragon, like all of these movies, I felt something, and it started a conversation on the drive home. The Lorax 2012 was not one of those movies. The entire drive home, I was talking about how cool the IMAX projectors were, because they are, you know?
IMAX projectors are dope. Can't deny it.
But I looked at those projectors before I watched the movie, right?
Yeah.
So if all I took from that hour and a half, or not hour and a half,
88 minutes, yeah.
2.5 hour experience was the 10 minutes before when I got to look at a giant projector, you failed as a movie, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, so again, one thing I started this film out is, like, we're talking negatively about this corporation, and obviously it'd be a dream to even work for this corporation. That's a crazy idea. It's funny. It's funny enough to say. But at the end of the day, it's not the individual animators that are at fault. It's not the individual sound artists. It's not the individual people that are at fault here. It's this idea of coming from a producer's standpoint, where I think that there is a lot lost on an audience. And I want to talk about that to the sense that Illumination isn't necessarily a bad company, but they're making bad decisions. And I think that is not done from the aspect of its individual creators. No. It is done from a producer's aspect of the owners and Universal as its production company owner, and creating films and then hiring people just to make those films rather than hiring people that are passionate to make these films. And at the end of the day, I think a lot can be changed, and it's unfortunate that they're still succeeding in the sense of when they are failing the world. And if you look at many times that films do this, it's sad, and I just hate it. But at the end of the day, it makes money, and then that's all the corporations see. And I really want the world to take a film like The Lorax and look into it, and really look into it. Watch it and really care about what you're watching. Don't just be distracted by the attractiveness of the one slur. Don't be distracted by the catchiness of how bad can I be. Take a deep look into what the movie, and this is a call to action in a lot of ways. When you're watching a movie, and if its purpose is not simply to just entertain, whatever, and if you think the movie really tries to serve something and it really is trying to, take a look into it and see what it's really trying to do.
Yeah. Illumination. You're not listening or watching, but I'm speaking directly to you.
Yes.
You are in a position of power that is so powerful. You know, you are able to reach millions and millions and millions of children.
All over the world, not just in the U.S.
All over the world with every single release you do, right? Secret Life of Pets, Sing, Mario, the Lorax. Migration. Every single kid goes to see these movies. Everyone loves these movies, right? So it is your responsibility to make sure that the lessons being taught are not just a way to cover up the actions that you're doing, you know? Make sure that the lessons are something that they can take with them, you know? I doubt it, but if you still ever want me to work with you, I would love to take that opportunity so that at least I can help, you know? Like, I want to be in a position where I can give a message to millions of kids, right? I would do anything to be in that position. I just want you to be a little bit more responsible.
Yeah. And I think that's a good place to end off this week. We kind of went on a lot of rants. Again, we love movies, and that's why we're talking so heavily about this.
People deserve better.
And don't worry, next week we'll also be much more positive. We'll probably watch a movie that we both love and we'll talk about. We really wanted to talk about a movie we disliked this week. So, but because it was a good, refreshing change of pace. I think a lot was a way for us to express ideas of what we actually do love about film in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you for watching.
We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
At first I didn't realize